Hi, and welcome to this micro lesson. It's a quick, practical training designed to help you strengthen your work with refugees and other ORR-eligible communities. My name is Carissa, and I'm an associate consultant with Solvera. Today's topic is unconscious bias and how small awareness shifts can really make a big difference. What is unconscious bias? You might have heard it before, you might already be familiar with it, or you might be hearing about it for the first time. So let's make sure we are together on the same definition. Unconscious bias refers to the automatic assumptions, associations, or quick judgments that all of us make without realizing it. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services explains that biases are automatically activated and often operate without our own awareness. So this means that the bias isn't necessarily a character flaw. It's a part of being human. It's a part of how our brain works. And awareness simply just gives us more choice in how we respond. So these biases that we see come up even without our awareness, they can be based on a multitude of things like language, behavior, tone, age, gender, cultural expectations. In refugee services, unconscious bias might look like assuming that somebody doesn't speak English, or assuming somebody has a specific trauma history because of where they're from. It can also mean assuming lateness means disrespect or disinterest, or expecting a certain level of digital literacy for online portals or forms. It matters a lot to recognize unconscious bias as a part of living and how we're interacting with the world, who we are, the people we work with, and the people who interact with all of our services come from diverse cultural, linguistic, and social backgrounds. Unconscious bias can really shape how we interpret their behavior, their actions. It can also affect how quickly we respond in the tone we use, and it can also have a big impact on how much a client feels supported. Again, referencing this report that the Department of Health and Human Services has, it notes that research shows that bias doesn't just shape our thoughts, it shapes our interactions. Implicit biases can influence how we perceive and interact with others, even when we intend to treat everyone fairly. So that's why awareness matters so much in client conversation and interaction. Small assumptions can influence big outcomes, especially for clients who are already navigating unfamiliar systems, stress, and or trauma. When we recognize our own biases, we create space for that clearer communication that we want, that greater respect, and stronger client relationships. So, here are some practical skills that can help at least notice or interrupt those biases that come up. Number one, pause and check in. If you listen to any of our other micro lessons, you're going to hear that pausing, taking a second to breathe, to stop, reflect, is something that we're going to recommend in a lot of situations. So, in order to notice or interrupt that unconscious bias, pause and check in. Before responding, maybe ask yourself, what assumptions may I be making right now? A 2 second pause, even just that 2 seconds, can give you time to shift that automatic to intentional. Number two, choose curiosity over certainty. So you want to replace assumptions with open-ended questions. And that's key, the open-ended part of it. So you can say, can you tell me more about that? Or what would work best for you? Curiosity helps us understand and gives us more information so we don't just automatically assume. Number three, slow down your first interpretation. Our first reactions are instinctive. Our second reaction is what can be more thoughtful. Give yourself a moment before labeling a specific behavior. Number four, use neutral, respectful language. You want to describe what you see, not what you believe you understand or what it means. So instead of if you say client, you could say client spoke quietly, not client was uncooperative. Client did not engage. Or you can say client asked for clarification instead of client doesn't understand. Those little shifts can really help with creating a place where people can interact with the information before making those automatic assumptions. Number 5, normalize asking before acting. So you can try, do you prefer phone calls or text? Isn't that the best when someone clarifies that so they know exactly what you want rather than assuming that you want a certain thing? You can also say, so would you prefer more time to think about this? Asking prevents assumptions. It's not foolproof, but it does give you that space to learn more before assuming. Practice perspective taking. Ask yourself, what might this feel like from their point of view? This is especially important in intake meetings, eligibility verification, or just generally stressful appointments. Quick reflection after a conversation. Spend 10 seconds thinking, what were some assumptions that I might have made? Or what biases might have come up that influenced my thoughts? What can I try maybe to do differently next time? It's all about learning. That awareness grows from that time spent in reflection and that willingness to learn. So, I mentioned a few examples as we went through those tips for interrupting unconscious bias. Here are a few more examples in action. You might catch yourself thinking, they didn't look at me, so they're upset. When maybe the culture that they come from, limited eye contact is what equals respect. Maybe something happened where you see a client missed an appointment, so you might think, oh, so they don't care. But maybe it was transportation or childcare or language or stress and anxiety that came up and became a barrier that is the real cause behind their missed appointment. Another example is they're quiet, they're disengaged. When maybe that client simply is processing information and wants time to think through it, especially if they're processing in a different language. Unconscious bias is something that we all have, but once we notice it, we can choose how we can respond. When we slow down, we check our assumptions and stay curious, clients are going to feel more respected and understood. It's something that all humans want. Thank you for watching this quick micro lesson on unconscious bias and how we can interrupt that happening. We appreciate your feedback, so please feel free to give us some more by scanning the QR code that's on the screen. And thank you for watching. Thank you from Solvera, we're your partner in Impact.